students, welcome to the another lecture on construction management and law. I am Amey Khedikar, working in the Department of Civil Engineering at Tulsiramji Gaikwad-Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. Basically, in the previous lecture series, we have seen that the concept of project, then the concept of management, even the smart site selection we have seen. So, today we will see the topic choice of technology and construction techniques. See, basically this is very important aspect in the mega projects and big projects. Basically the smart selection of the construction equipment, the method what we adopt in the construction process plays a very important role, and we have seen previously that the overrunning of the time may increase the budget. Okay. So, in the construction technique in the latest era, in last couple of decades, we have come up with a lot of innovations of softwares and smart tools that is helpful for the speedy construction. Even now we have seen across the world that very much speed has been achieved by the contractor, builders and civil engineers in order to produce the high quality services to the society. Okay, so now you can see in the slide that this some of the advanced tool. In ancient times, it is not possible few things, but nowadays with transit mixer and all the things at the site, you have to cast concrete, precast constructions and all the things. So these things nowadays available. So you can see application of crane in the slide and the road roller and all the things. So okay, see in the construction management, the new problem coming with the formulation and with the deep analysis and research and search, a decision has to be made proper, and with the proper specification along with the modification we have to go with that. So this entire the loop diagram shows the new problem, and it leads to the formulation, and after the formulation analysis has to be done critically, and then by searching it and by working on it we have to take the proper decision. Until and unless we take proper decision in right path, the specification we are not supposed to make, and after that with the modification in the existing method or by innovating some new method we have to go for it. So this is the phase in the construction management and law. Okay. And now in the construction planning is of about two types. Okay. The planning is of two types. The first one will be the cost oriented and second will be the schedule oriented. See, cost oriented means it is all about the finance, all about the available finance constraint, all about the available resources, and schedule oriented means we have to strictly adhere to the deadlines, we have to follow that. Then in cost oriented we have direct cost, indirect cost, and schedule oriented in that we have time oriented where we have critical path method problems, and resource oriented with a job, shop, schedule. Okay. So in the figure which indicates the alternative emphasis in the construction management, it deals with the construction planning where cost oriented and schedule oriented things are there. It is again bifurcated to direct and indirect cost, and time oriented where critical path problems are there. We need to identify the critical path over there, and then the resource oriented. So with the available resources, with the given deadline, with the time constraint, with the cost constraint, we have to execute the construction projects. Okay. Basically we need to answer few things as a project manager, as a site supervisor, or as a owner, or as a designer, planner. We must have knowledge, we must have basic things. Okay, first one is what knowledge is applied to select construction work. For example, I am starting my own firm where I need to plan a G+10 or G+3 example buildings. See, in every lecture I am taking the example of G+3 or G+10 because the residential building are best type of construction to understand. Okay. Then what kind of knowledge is required, what kind of skill set is required to execute the project, what kind of skill set, tools, equipment required. As a project manager, I must have knowledge of all the things. Then what factors are evaluated during the process, how method is selected. Then there may be some problem, then there may be some execution in problem, there are some practical problem, there are some physical problems. So we need to have the proper knowledge of all the things. Until and unless we have a problem solution over it, we can't go further. Okay. So knowledge applied to the selection of method, knowledge applied to resources, how method is selected, what method we are selecting, these are very important. And then what information is required to select the construction method. Okay. Then the construction method we will deal in further. There are now a lot of advanced techniques are there, and how to choose one which is the beneficial one. See, basically the ultimate role of the entire technique is to minimize the effort and maximize the profit. In that we have to, in order to achieve this principle, we need to be smart and we have to take a smart decision. So, this is the basic knowledge regarding the knowledge, skill set, tools required, equipments, then what is the execution method, and then what are the information we need to execute the construction method. These are the things are very much important. Okay. Now, we will see choice of technology. Okay. Construction firms are now using data to make better decisions, which ultimately helps to increase productivity, improves job site safety, and reduces the risk. Risk is also one of the important tasks in the important parameter, important segment in the big construction projects, where the many of the time loss of life is also there. So, we need to take that in very important way. Then robots nowadays and artificial intelligence are also being used in the civil engineering sites to monitor job progress with real time actionable data to improve the job site productivity. Now, in the construction site also the use of artificial intelligence, the robots are now used, even lot of machineries are being introduced. Even 2 decades earlier, 1 decade earlier, we are not using that much software, but nowadays we are using softwares too. So, that is the lot of technologies are available now. It is our role to introduce that and to implement it to the practical sites. Okay. Then the selection of construction methods affects not only the selection of activities and also their work sequence, but also its duration. See, proper method you select, proper method you adopt, it ultimately leads to the saving of time, and it will be in a sequence. Once we have proper scheduling of all the things, so it will be good. Okay. In construction, this process is highly interactive and requires the construction team to examine a variety of data sources as well as tap into own experience base to formulate a set of efficient methods. Okay. In cases like this, when a decision problem has at least 2 conflicting criteria and at least 2 solution criteria, the problem is considered as multi-criteria decision analysis, where 2 or more problems coming at a time and we need to also act accordingly. So, this kind of things coming under the multi-criteria decision analysis. Okay. And in the construction process, highly iterative and requires a construction team to examine the variety of data, because nowadays the construction methods are depending upon the data analysis. Okay. Now, brainstorming is one of the technique for generating the data, ideas and creating develop to help solve problem. Brainstorming is very important nowadays. It's as a result we are generating ideas and creating knowledge that helps to solve the problems. Okay. Then another method is of formal instances of knowledge acquisition, which can be of 2 types: project related, such as team meetings or final project meetings. Okay. Then we also associate with the selection of construction method itself, such as meeting with the experts, suppliers, or meeting to discuss problems during the execution of methodology and determine any possible solutions. Okay. So, project related team meeting, group discussion or problem solving or brainstorming sessions can be fruitful for such kind of things. Then interaction, face to face interaction, value in organization, that should be encouraged in a structural way. Okay. Research and development, R&D work is now implementing a lot nowadays, and this R&D, research and development, transfer meetings, since construction methods relate directly to innovation. So, nowadays there are very much focus, and government is also giving more emphasis on the R&D works. Okay. Now, the choice of construction technology. Now, what is the technology which is the available technology with the available resource, and which is the beneficial, which can save the cost and time as well. So, that is a smart decision. In that, as in the development of appropriate alternatives for facility design, choices of appropriate technology and methods for construction are often still ill structured yet critical ingredients in the success of the project. For example, a decision whether to pump or to transport concrete in buckets will directly affect the cost and duration of the task involved in the building construction. See, I can give you another example. For example, transportation. If we can use the local available material rather importing from the large distance, so the transportation cost can be saved. So, the same example quoted here also, the whether to pump or transport the concrete in buckets, okay, will directly affect the cost and duration of the task. Decision between these 2 alternatives should consider the relative cost, reliabilities and availability of the equipment. For the 2 transport methods, unfortunately the exact implications of different method depend upon the numerous consideration, for which information may be sketchy during the planning phase, such as the experience and expertise of workers or the particular underground condition at a site. So looking towards the various condition, available properties and the geometrical feature of the site, there are the decision making capabilities, decision making thoughts, even thought process may change by site. Okay. Then alternative methods can technologies, it may necessary to formulate number of construction plans based on the alternate method of or assumptions. Assumptions whatever we are making, it must have a logic or it must have some base with the practical application. Once the full plan is available, then the cost, time and reliability impacts of the alternative approaches can be reviewed. This examination of several alternatives is being oftenly made explicit in bidding competitions in which several alternative design may be proposed or value engineering for alternative construction methods may be permitted. So until and unless we have proper database and proper comparison, proper analysis, we are not supposed to have any alternative method, and it is not, neither it is allowed nor it is being proposed or nor it is being permitted. So in this case, potential contractors may wish to prepare plan for each alternative design using the suggested construction method, as well as to prepare plans for alternative construction method, which would be proposed as a part of value engineering process. Okay. So until and unless we have proper database or proper planning, we are not supposed to go ahead. Forming a construction plan, a useful approach is to simulate the construction process either in the imagination of the planner or with a formal computer based simulation technique. By observing the result, comparison among the different plans or problem with the existing plan can be identified. Basically, for example, architect has a plan in his mind and I am the owner of any site, I have some idea in the mind. So we both plan simultaneously on by putting in a paper or by drawing, making something in a software, we will see the which is the best outcome, and we will definitely go with the best outcome. Okay. For example, you can say that the decision to use a particular piece of equipment for an operation immediately leads to the question of whether or not there it is sufficient access space for the equipment. 3D geometrical models in the computer design in the CAD system may be helpful in the simulation space requirements for operation and for identifying any interference. Similarly, problem in sources availability identified during the simulation of the construction process might be effectively forestalled by providing additional resources as a part of construction plan. Okay. Now, we will take one case study or we will take one example of roadway rehabilitation. Okay. For example, a roadway rehabilitation project, it can serve to illustrate the importance of good construction planning and the effect of technology choice. See, the road construction or rehabilitation project is one of the best example to understand this concept. Now, we will see in the project the decks on overpass bridge as well as the pavement on the highway itself were to be replaced. Okay, this is a task is to be done. The initial construction plan was to work outward from each end of the overpass bridges, while the highway surface was replaced below the bridge. Okay. As a result, access of equipment and concrete trucks to the overpass bridge was a considerable problem. However, the highway work could be staged so that each overpass bridge can accessible from below at prescribed times. So by pumping the concrete up to the overpass bridge deck from the highway below, costs were reduced and work was accomplished so much quickly. So that is the best example of saving the time and economy. Okay. As we know that the decks on overpass bridge as well as the pavement on the way were to replaced. So by that pumping of the concrete, one of the best method, and it is implemented and results in saving of cost and time. Okay. In the project now, this illustrative hierarchical activity division for a roadway project, you can see how many activities are involved there. You can see that the activities are involved in such a fashion that it is too complicated to see, but we will see one by one. Now, in the project, there are three categories: structure, then general information, and then specifically roadway. In the structure, it is categorized as the culverts, structure excavation, and then excavation and field. So these are the activities initiated, you can see in the slide itself. Then the structures, then major structure is culverts, then structure excavation, then excavation and field. So this is A and B activities are there. See, there is a difference between activity and event. Okay. So event has a start and end. Okay. Activity means which is going on. So that is the basic difference. Now in the general category, there is a moving, then supervise, then clean up, then okay. So these are the three categories of general category, then move in, supervise and clean up. Okay. And in now roadway, in the roadway project, the earthwork and paving. In the earthwork we have clear, type of earthwork, then excavate, we need to sometime excavate, or we have some undulation, then we have to fill it and then finish. These are the 4 categories, and in the paving we have water, compact and pavements. Okay. Finally, we will now the culverts are again classified into the concrete, then form concrete, pour, strip, cure and reinforcing. So, these are all the things which is very critically needs to be analyzed, and the as a project manager, the hierarchy has to be maintained and proper scheduling has to be maintained to execute the project in a smooth way. Okay. So, now the importance of choice of technology is the proper selection of construction method is a critical activity in order to reach the equipments of quality, time, cost and customer satisfaction. There is proper selection which leads to the creative activity. In order to reach the requirements, quality can be achieved, time can be saved and cost also can be reduced, and we can meet the customer satisfaction. Despite of importance is an activity which is a practice does not deliver results as positive as people. Okay. Like since many projects needs to change their construction methods during the construction phases, or any methods or apply methods that leads to repeat previous mistake. See, we need to either change the method, or we need to provide some alternatives, or we need to improve our existing method, project methods in order to achieve the economy and save the time, okay, and as to meet the customer satisfaction. Now, just now in the beginning of the lecture I have told you that there are some construction techniques nowadays which are very much popular, and this is the need of today's era. So, the first one, I am taking only example of building. In terms of building, there are many segments in civil engineering, that high rise structure, then building, the bridges, canals, dam, hydraulic structure, all the things. So, what basically I will do now, I will focus only on the building part, and I will, okay, then see, the first one is 3D volumetric construction, then precast and flat panel modules, then tunnel formwork system, then flat scabbing technology, then precast foundation technique, then hybrid concrete building technique, then thin joint masonry technique, then insulating concrete formwork, especially known as ICF techniques. So, these are the techniques nowadays which are highly available and very much smart enough to tackle the problems, and which reduces cost, and ultimately the high quality can be achieved. Okay. I have seen some advanced examples where the precast panels are being installed at a site where casting is done on the site, and they have been traveled to a destination and it can be assembled there. The best example also Nagpur Metro is also example of that. Okay. And the modern construction methods are methods that are developed in construction industry with proper planning and design, so that each project reduces the construction time, cost and maintaining overall sustainability. See, every project manager, every firm wants to meet the deadline, okay, and we have seen and we have also discussed many times that the overtime increase the budget, and ultimately if you are not meeting the economy, then there is no use of the construction methods. So, these are some advanced example of the precasting and all the things I have put up here, you can see on the slide. Okay. Where precast panel is there, this on the middle image you can see the installing has been done, proper precast. Okay. So, just now we have seen the different methods, modern methods, precast slab, then flat slab construction, then precast cladding panels. Different modern methods we will see of construction and used in the construction field. Just now we have seen that precast flat panel, just we have seen image, 3D volumetric module, though twin wall technology, again concrete wall, precast is very popular now, which is now hotcake in the market, precast, and then flat slab. So, all these things are there. Okay. Now, we will see the advantages of it. Okay. Nowadays, with the assistance of advanced design development tools, all kinds of challenges which are normally observed by professionals on the construction sites are effectively dealt by them during pre-constructions. So, this became possible due to the adoption and use of advanced drawing, drafting and modeling tools applications, some of which are designed and manufactured by Autodesk, an American software company. Popularly, Autodesk is popularly known for the AutoCAD. Okay. Autodesk has successfully produced both computer aided design applications and BIM, building information module, which provides extensive support to architects and engineers with design documentation. So that is one of the best tool for the building construction. Okay. And a large scale use of CAD and BIM software produced designs, and construction professionals started to produce error free drawings and 3D models, which are useful for final construction in more than one ways. Okay. There are not just needed to referring accurate geometrical information about the architectural, structural and design, but are also crucial for referring information on materials, material takeoffs, bill of materials, construction schedule, time and cost. Since accurate design documentation helps them out with the extensive information about the project in question, it becomes easy for us to speculate project outcomes. Okay. By analysis, comprehensive project information professional can easily visualize or predict the potential on-site challenges. And since the entire building design is still in its digital form, it remains quite conventional for building professional to make necessary changes in the project in order to avoid the potential construction challenges. Okay. So, thank you friends for patient listening, and I hope you have understood this. And today I would just like to brief that what we have seen. Basically, we have seen the smart selection of the methods, available methods, techniques and benefits, and later on we have seen the advantages of construction. There are a lot of construction choices there are lot of choices available, but the smart selection depend upon the database we have, the analysis we have, the interpretation we do for that. It is not about just randomly choosing anyone. No, it will not justify the principle of that. Okay. So, we need to have proper database, proper interpretation, proper analysis, and then proper choosing it. And then there are some advantages, and ultimately with the need of era we need to implement the softwares, and we have to either we have to produce some improvements in the existing method, or we need to adopt the new methods, so that we can achieve the economy and we can meet the customer satisfaction. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Hope you understood this. We will meet very soon in next lecture. Thank you.